want to go a little faster, then we'll also cover that. So that's why like I wanted to understand like how familiar you are. Accordingly, I can plan the training. Okay. And second thing why I asked about Java is, so even though this SailPoint IIQ is a tool, we have option for customizations. So we can customize few things within the SailPoint IIQ tool. So for a customization purpose, they will use Java. Okay, so basically the scripting language is called Bean Shell scripting. Like you can see here, right? So it's a Java based scripting language. It is 99% Java, completely Java. Okay, and you need not to panic also. So when we say Java, we will not use any advanced concepts on that. So basic Java is sufficient enough. If you are able to understand OOPS concepts, if you are able to like use variables, loops, if conditions, all those things, then we are good. We will be covered. Obviously, like if you know methods, method definitions, method calls. So these things, if you are familiar with that, we are good. And when we go to collections concept, maximum we will use map, list, and set. Will not go beyond that. Okay, and will not use any other advanced concepts. So the basic ones like the try-catch blocks. Okay, so only these basic level Java stuff only will be used. Okay, and again, if you are not familiar with any programming language, if you are not familiar with especially Java, then that is also fine. We have different career opportunities that we'll be discussing next. Okay, so just letting you know why I asked these questions. And the entire course duration, right? It will be around 25 to 30 hours, like depending on how well the training goes, and how curious you are, and how actively you are asking questions and discussing the stuff. So the timing will vary. Okay, so it's around like 25 to 30 hours. And as a part of this training, you will be getting the recordings. You will getting live sessions, obviously, and you will be getting the recordings of those live sessions as well. And along with that, you will be getting some supporting material as well. So we will not only do the training in a theoretical way, we will create a local lab setup. And there is no cost involved for this lab setup also. At free of cost, I will provide you all the required materials. I will provide you all the required installers. So you will be installing the complete SailPoint IIQ setup in your personal computer, and you will practice the use case scenarios that we'll be discussing. Okay, so these are the offerings from outside. Like we will be giving you some MCQs if possible, and we'll also giving you some interview questions, and we'll also help you for your resume preparation. So all these things you will be getting as you enroll for this SailPoint IIQ training. Okay. And once you complete this training, as I said, it is like beginner to intermediate level. So you will be getting like good amount of knowledge on SailPoint IIQ. And once you complete this training, like you can project yourself as in like 4 to 5 years experienced candidate. Okay. And once you learn SailPoint IIQ, what are the different opportunities that we have within SailPoint IIQ? Okay. So the first and foremost, we will have support roles. Okay. And support means we know like we'll be getting tickets. It will be like L1 or L2 kind of support. If any user is like raising any incident, like we'll be checking it with our SailPoint IIQ, and we'll be addressing those queries. So this is obviously everywhere. So we have support roles in SailPoint for which people hire for. And next to support role, we have business analysts also. Okay. So how the ecosystem used to be is there will be set of 4 people, 5, 10 group of team who will be implementing the SailPoint IIQ. And previously, only those team members used to handle everything, right from requirement gathering to implementation to production support. Only those people used to implement it. But there are few scenarios, even SailPoint is expanding like anything. So depending on the project scale nowadays, there is a clear-cut segregation within the team. So as a part of that, we have this business analyst came up separately. Instead of everyone doing that, we have dedicated business analysts within our SailPoint also. So if you want to become a business analyst, obviously we need to have the business knowledge. So we need to interact with a lot of people, get the requirements done. And we also need to clearly understand the SailPoint IIQ tool as well. Because so when you are going and talking to a business person, and if they have any requirement, then we clearly need to understand whether that is feasible with SailPoint IIQ or not. And if it is feasible, how can we do that? So that knowledge should be there. Okay, so that's why like we have this separate role. Nowadays it's emerging. So we can apply for business analyst role also once you are familiar with this SailPoint IIQ. Okay, so next to business analyst, we have something called developer, or sometimes people call it as implementation engineer. SailPoint IIQ implementation engineer or SailPoint IIQ developer. So this is the most important one, and this is the highly demanded one also. So developers and implementation engineers have high demand, and it needs a lot of skill set. So if you are someone who is familiar with web application development, front end or back end, okay, all these things, then it will be very easy for you. Okay, and if you want to become a developer or implementation engineer, you need to have Java knowledge. And again, the basic Java knowledge, core Java knowledge, not the advanced one. Okay. So along with developers, nowadays we have QA also. It means like testers. As I mentioned previously, the same team used to do everything. They used to do development, they used to do support. But nowadays, as the SailPoint IQ landscape is increasing, so we are having dedicated testers also. Okay, and if you are familiar with SailPoint IIQ, and if you are not like comfortable with coding, then you can either go for business analyst and you can go for testing. In worst case, we can also go for support projects also. Okay, so these are the different roles or different types of opportunities that we have once we learn SailPoint IIQ, and it is up to you how curious you are and how interesting this tool will be for you, and how well you want to go into this. It's up to you, but ultimately the most demanded and the most effort taking role is the developer or implementation engineering, and it needs Java. So for others, QA, BA, and support and all, like even though you don't have Java knowledge, if you have the SailPoint IIQ tool knowledge, then we can do these jobs. Okay, we'll be good for these opportunities. Okay, so I would like to take a pause here, and I want to understand if you guys have any questions in this.
So far, good, Kalyan. Please go ahead from my side.
Okay, thanks for
Kalyan,
checking.
I have a small question. So,
Yeah,
based,
please.
so out of this course training, like 25 to 30 hours of this course
Mhm.
training, what roles we cover here? Like, do we cover more of the developer, implementation engineer, kind of classes, or what do we cover exactly?
Got your question, Ravi. Actually, we will not do this training based on the role. Okay, we will not aim for any role particularly. We will be covering the tool altogether. So the end goal is to make you well aware and familiar with this SailPoint IAQ tool, and what is the purpose, how to implement it, what are the like features it contains. So we will learn about the tool more. Okay. So once you are familiar with the tool, then it's up to you where you want to go. So we will be covering the topics related to BA, QA, and developer. Most of the focus, like if you are a developer, then all these things will be covered automatically. Testing, business analyst support, everything will be covered once you covered this one. Okay, so you need not to worry about any role. So we will be covering everything. So our main focus is tool, to learn the tool and to be more aware of the domain, not focused on any particular role.
Yeah, got it. Thank you, Kalyan.
Okay, okay, fine, good to go.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, fine then. Now, this is just an intro about the course, how it is going to be, and what are the opportunities that we have. Now, let's talk about the topics. Okay, so this is the first day of our training. So I just want to make you familiar with it, and I also want to get started right from the scratch. Okay, so first of all, what is this SailPoint IAQ? So we are here to learn the SailPoint IAQ, right? So what is the SailPoint IAQ? And when you heard about the SailPoint IAQ, what is your understanding of it? How you understood this term SailPoint IIQ?
Nothing in the name, but IIQ means something like integration tool for me.
Okay, integration tool. Okay, what we will integrate and what we'll be doing. So to make this question even, to make you clear about what kind of answer I'm expecting. For example, in this digital world, right? If we have any tool or if we have any software, So there is a reason for using that software, and there is a reason for being creating that software, right? For example, I have an internet banking application. So what is the purpose of internet banking application? So it is a digital platform for doing all my banking related operations. So it helps me like not going to the bank physically, wait in the long queues, and like wasting a lot of time and effort. So instead of that, all my banking operations can be done on my fingertips while I'm sitting at my home itself. So that's the purpose of that net banking application, that particular tool. Okay, so similarly, then what is this SailPoint IAQ? What is the purpose of it?
So it's a tool developed to solve the IAM problems.
Excellent. Solve IAM problems.
Yeah.
Awesome. This is exactly what it is. Okay, go on. Any further understanding?
Probably automate all the IAM requirements.
Automate IAM requirements. Correct. Correct. Absolutely right. Anything else? Okay. So all these definitions are correct. You people are absolutely right. But to put it in a clear format, so when someone asks what is SailPoint IAQ, so my definition goes like this. And one more explanation. So here we have something called IAQ, right? So the full form of IAQ is Identity IQ. Okay. IQ in the sense it's an like unit for measuring the intelligence. Okay, so here they're trying to simplify that identity IQ means like an intelligent identity kind of thing. So this is the name of the tool. So if we want to give a definition to our SailPoint IIQ tool, we can say like SailPoint IIQ or Identity IQ, full form is Identity IQ, is an IAM tool. Okay, or to be more precise, it's an IGA tool. Have you heard about this IGA? IAM, we are aware. Have you heard about this IGA term?
Yes.
Okay. So it stands for Identity Governance and Administration. So we will also discuss. So what is IAM? What is IGA? What is the difference? Okay. So to put the definition of the SailPoint IAQ, SailPoint IAQ is an IAM tool or it's an IGA tool from a company called SailPoint. SailPoint, which is used to solve enterprise IAM problems. Okay, which is used to solve enterprise IAM problems. Okay. Now let's try to understand it even more clearly. Okay. So first of all, when someone says SailPoint, always remember as you are going to be an SailPoint person. So always remember, SailPoint is not a tool. It's name of that company. So just like we have Oracle, IBM, right? So SailPoint is also an organization, and this organization, they are developing wide variety of products for different scenarios. Okay, similarly, IAQ is one such product from a company called SailPoint. And along with IAQ, they have some other products like NUM, they have ISC, they have File Access Manager. Like this, they have multiple products. Among them, like IAQ is one such product. Okay. So going forward, if someone says SailPoint, like you have to be more precise. Is it the company they are referring or is it the SailPoint IAQ tool they are referring? Okay. So it's a tool from this company. And what is the major purpose of this tool? It is used to solve enterprise IAM problems. So when we say enterprise here, it is not like any application that can be used by everyone. Okay. For example, if we have application like Gmail can be used personally and it can be used for organization purpose. Like employees, they can use those Gmail as their official mail IDs. So this SailPoint IIQ is not a tool like that. It is only used for solving enterprise IAM problems. It means it is only for the organizations. Okay, it is only for companies. And that too, it is used to solve IAM problems. IAM means like identity and access management problems. Okay, so what is this IAM? What are the problems that IAM has? So within this identity and access management, so what problems we have? So let's dig little deeper and try to understand. So what is IAM here, first of all? So we need to understand like what is the main purpose of this IdentityIQ tool, and we understood it is used to solve enterprise IAM problems. Now I know what is enterprise. It means it is not used for my personal use or anything. It is used for only organizations. It's an enterprise tool. Okay, now within that enterprise, it is solving IAM problems. And what is this IAM first of all? So what's your thought on the term IAM?
So it is basically identity and access management, giving the right people at the right access at the right time.
Identity and access management. Giving right people. This is absolutely correct. Right access. Right time. Okay. Fine. So first of all, IAM means, as you said, it's identity and access management. Absolutely fine. So this is the expansion of it. But basically, IAM is an subdomain of cybersecurity. So within organizations, we'll have a lot of verticals, right? We'll have a lot of domains. So among them, cybersecurity is a major domain. So which is majorly focused on protecting the organization's data and their systems, right? So the entire cybersecurity domain is there to protect the organizations, or at least to protect the digital data. Okay. So in the aim of protecting the digital assets of the organization, so the cybersecurity has multiple subdomains, and in each domain, they have their own way of protecting the systems. For example, within cybersecurity, we have something like network security. Okay, we know at network level, they have firewalls, they have their own protocols, they will do their own stuff to protect the systems from being attacked, or from the data from being stolen. Okay, similarly, we have ethical hacking. So they have their own approach for protecting it. So instead of waiting for someone to attack and try to find some loophole and steal the data, internally they themselves attacks the system, and they will try to find whether there is any vulnerability and if there is any loophole to attack and steal the data. So it is one domain. Similarly, IAM is one of the subdomains of cybersecurity, and it is called identity and access management. Okay. And within this identity and access management, so whenever we have any domain, right? So that particular domain, it has its own way of working. It has its own way of its implementation. Okay. In that way, this identity and access management domain, it works on some core principles. So if you want to verify if an IAM implementation is successful or not, when we cross question these core principles, and when we make sure that the core principles that we have defined is implemented properly, then we can confirm that our identity and access management implementation is done flawlessly. Okay, now what are these core principles that are behind our identity and access management? Let's try to understand this. First one is called least privilege. Least privilege. So this least privilege is nothing but giving correct access to correct people at correct time. Okay, so this is what is actually least privilege means. So this is the implementation principle behind our identity and access management. Okay, so as I mentioned, it's a subdomain. So these are the core principles. So what is this least privilege exactly? For example, if any person is working for the organization, let's say a manager, or let's say a developer, he will be working for some kind of organization, right? So when he's working for the organization, least privilege in the sense, we need to provide the minimum amount of access that is required for the person to do his day-to-day job. Okay, and why it is called least privilege? It means we should not be giving access less than what is required. And at the same time, we should not be providing access more than what is required. So that is where the edge is. So this least privilege is the balancing point of the user access. So what happens if you provide less access than what is required? Obviously, the person will not be able to do his work. For example, for a developer, if you don't give Git access, he will write the code, but where he will move the code, he cannot push the code, he cannot share it with the team. So he cannot perform his day-to-day work normally. Okay, so that's the consequence of providing least access than, like less access than what is required. And similarly, if we provide more access than what is required, then there are chances of like mistakes. For example, if you give like commit access to some DB admin, okay, even if he is not supposed to have, he can wrongly update the data. Okay, so in order to avoid such things, we need to maintain a balance. So that is what least privilege means. So this is one of the core principles of our identity and access management implementation. So next to this least privilege, we have some other principles like zero trust. Okay, so in this digital world, we cannot blindly trust anyone. Always we should have a verification process everywhere. So before you do any work, before you perform any operation, it should be verified and it should be confirmed that it is legitimate. Then only we should be performing that activity. So this is one of our working principles behind our IAM domain. So to give an example of this zero trust, the best example I can say is like the approval process. For example, if you are requesting for any access, like you will have some portals, right, for requesting some kind of access within your organization. So if you go and request for some access and if you are getting the access directly, then there is a lot of issues over there, right? For example, you can request for whatever the things that is not required for you. Okay, so here we will have an approval process in place. For example, if you request for any access, before actually providing you the access, it will go for some approval. Let's say it could be the manager's approval or it could be someone else. So that person have to verify that you have requested for certain access and he need to confirm whether that access is required for you or not. Or basically they will be confirming whether that access is legitimate or not. Okay, so once they approve it, once they say, yes, this person need this access, then only you will be getting that. Otherwise, you will not get it. So this is one example of zero trust, and this is one of the principles behind implementation for identity and access management. And next to this zero trust, we have something called data integrity. I think this is one of the commonly heard terms, and even within our organizations, when we do security trainings and all, so we will be listening to this word data integrity. So what is this data integrity? So data integrity means making sure that the data is not disclosed or the data is not accessed by unauthorized people. Okay. For example, you are not HR, you are normal employee. You are not authorized to see the personally identifiable information of other employees. Like you are not supposed to see their date of birth, you are not supposed to see their mobile number. So that is none of our business. So that is HR's part. So this data integrity makes sure that we don't have access to that kind of data. And at the same time, data integrity means not only protecting the data from wrong disclosure, it also involves protecting the data from unauthorized modification. So only HR people are supposed to update any of our information. Okay, so no one else should be able to modify our information in the system. So that have to be ensured. So this is where the data integrity concept comes into picture. Okay, so this way, like we have many other principles that are like structured behind this identity and access management domain. Okay, so this is only the few principles that we have discussed. Okay, and as the SailPoint IIQ is an IAM tool, so by end of our SailPoint IIQ implementation, we will be familiar with not only the least privilege concept, we will be actually implementing this least privilege concept through our SailPoint IIQ. Okay, similarly, we'll be implementing zero trust data integrity. All these core principles we will be practically implementing using our tool. Okay, so that's why I'm just highlighting this. And at the end of the training, we will again come back to this page and we will ensure whether all these things are implemented or not using our IdentityIQ tool. Okay, so that's why I'm highlighting it here. Okay, clear till this part? Are any questions or any doubts?
Yes.
Okay, and it is not only that we are discussing it and we are making sure things are clear. So we all are working like, right? So some of us have already knowledge on that. So apart from the concepts that or being discussed here, if you know anything that adds to this discussion, you are always open to add your comments, add your opinions. Okay, so instead of making it a boring one-to-one training, let's make it more interactive. And learning can happen from anyone. It could be from me, it could be from you, or it could be from anyone else also. So we should be open to learning from anyone. So anytime, if you have any points to add, if you have any questions, or if you don't understand anything, like always feel free to like unmute yourself and you can put your opinion over here. Okay. Okay. So good to go next.
Yeah, Kalyan. So you are saying like since these are the core principles of IAM, so I
Mhm.
mean so mostly problems will be from this side, right? So to solve those problems, SailPoint will be using, right, in the scenarios.
Yes, yes, yes.
So
So
and
these
why
are
why?
not the problems, I can say. We'll be discussing about the problems. We have this topic here, but
Mhm.
these are the thumb rules, I can say. So when we say implementation principles, so these are kind of thumb rules that we have to ensure these are followed to make sure
Mhm.
that the data is protected. So
Okay.
our main goal is to provide security, right? So whatever
Yes.
may be the format in which we are providing the security. So once we are implementing these concepts, these core principles, then we can ensure that like our data is secure.
Hmm.
Okay, or in to put it in other words, these are kind of strategies for us for protecting the data. So these strategies we'll be implementing through our tool. So for that, like it may sound conceptual, but once we go for the practical implementation, then you will get a clear picture of it.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll be discussing about these problems going next. Okay, so I'll go further. So here we are talking about IAM, and I mentioned it's identity and access management. It is subdomain of cybersecurity, implementation principles, everything fine, good. Okay. So let's understand this term. So I believe in one thing. So if you're not understanding a book, you might have missed some pages. So you might have misunderstood some of the pages. And if you misunderstood any page, it means you might have misunderstood some paragraph in it. Or if you misunderstood some paragraph, it means you might have missed some lines or words. Okay, so if you are clear with each and every word that you are reading, then things will be more clear for you. So that's what I believe. So with that approach, let's try to understand more about this identity and access management. It is not only a subdomain. Let's try to understand each and every term. So in this scenario, in this particular domain, okay, or in our implementation of our SailPoint IIQ, what is identity means? What is basically identity means? So what comes to your mind when you say the term identity?
So it's basically knowing the person, like who is he, what is he.
Who is he? What is he? And again, like who is this he here? Whom we are referring here? He in the sense.
Maybe a user
Okay, user
or
and
or an employee of the company.
or employee. Very good. Awesome. And anything else? So basically, when we say identity means the question that comes to everyone is who you are. So the exact meaning of identity is who you are. Okay, so when someone asks you, like when some police or someone asks us, like, who are you? Where are you from? What will show? It will show some identity card, which is nothing but your passport, or it could be your like green card, it could be your work permit, or it could be your in India, it could be your PAN, Aadhaar, anything. So that basically defines who you are. It gives some information about you, right? About any person. So in this identity and access management domain, particularly with our SailPoint IIQ, when we say the term identity, it is nothing but digital representation of anyone who is working for the organization. So there is a deep meaning inside that. So when we say digital representation of anyone, it means, so we will take any person who is working for the organization. I can say who is working for the organization. That person must be working for the organization. Okay. So if you pick one person and if you take that person details like his first name, his last name, what is his department, what is his designation, what is his work location, to whom he is reporting to. So if you take all this information and if you put it in a digital system, or if you put it in a system digitally, then that is what exactly is identity. Okay. Otherwise, you can simply think of identity means a person working for the organization. So it means we are not practically referring the person, we are referring the person's data. So all the data put together, that is what we are calling it as identity. Okay. So again, understand this term, working for the organization. So this is what we mean by enterprise IAM. So within our IAM domain, when we say the term identity, we are only referring the people who are working for the organization. Okay, if you take a bank, so there are so many people involved in operations of a bank. Okay, you have employees, and at the same time, you have customers also. Customers also people, right? Who are involved in the bank business operations. So this SailPoint IIQ tool, it is only for enterprise IAM problems. It means here, when we say the identity, we are only referring the people who work for the organization, not the customers. Okay, if you are working for the organization, then we will be handling your data and we will be protecting your data. So that is what I will be doing in our identity and access management. And again, this part is clear. We are only referring the people who works for the organization, not anyone like customers or someone else. And more clear. So who will be the people working for the organization? It means basically who all works for the organization. So as you previously said, employees works for the organization. Contractors also works for the organization. Vendors also works for the organization. And suppliers. So this way we have different categories of people who works for the organization. Okay. Employee means people will be on the direct payroll of the company. Contractors means they will be external. They are not on the direct payroll. They will be hired temporarily from some other organization to get some work done. So vendors means they are the sellers. Supplier means, so within our organization, these people will be like providing some kind of resources for us. Okay. At the end of the day, they will be working for the organization. I mean, owned. Okay. And as this technology is evolving, okay, we have few more things working for the organization, like service accounts. Anyone aware of these service accounts? Chatbots, RPS, robotic process automations. Nowadays, AI agents. These are also working for the organization just the way a human does a job. Okay, these digital entities also performing some kind of job, right? Do you all agree with this?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. When we say the term identity, we mean all these people. So this is where I am telling people who work for the organization. So these are all the people who work for the organization. It means when you say the term identity within our IAM domain, you will be referring employees, contractors, vendors, suppliers, service accounts, robotic process automation agents, chatbots, everything comes under identity. So when you say identity, it could be representation of any of these things. Okay. So here also we have a clear categorization. So there is a categorization made here. So these are called human identities. Okay. And these are called non-human identities. This terminology is self-explanatory, right? And it's clearly understood. There is no confusion. So these are all the real humans who works for the organization. So that's why they are called human identities. At the end of the day, they are also like people working for the organization, and technically they are called identity. And they are humans, so that is called human identities. These are also like employees. I mean, they also work, but they are not humans. Okay, so they are like digital workers. So that's why they are named as non-human identities. So we should be very familiar with this term because nowadays as our IAM domain is expanding, we have a new concept coming in, which is nothing but non-human identities. We have different approaches, we have different process to handle these scenarios also. So that's why I want to make sure like you are familiar with this one also. When someone says non-human, so you should not get confused. Okay, so in the term identity, now we are just trying to understand the term identity within our identity and access management. So this is what exactly identity means. Means digital representation of people who work for the organization, or it could be either employees, non-employees, employees. I mean, it could be humans or non-humans. Within humans, it could be employees, contractors, blah, blah, blah. Within non-humans, it could be any of these. But end of the day, their identity. So that is when we say the term identity here. So we might be referring any of these. Okay, mostly we deal with employees or contractors. Most of the scenarios will revolve around only these two, but it is not limited to only these two cases. Anything could be there. And even in non-humans, like mostly service accounts, these things only comes into picture, but it could be any of these one as well. Okay, depending on the organization for which we are implementing this. Okay. So I'll quickly explain the other two terms as well, and with that we will wrap up. Okay. So what do we exactly mean by access? What is the meaning of access? So access means our ability to use any application. So here we are talking everything about the digital things. Okay. So when we say the term access, it means like we are able to use that. Okay. Let's suppose within our office, we will have our workbase, right? So if you have access to your workbase, you will be allowed to enter it and you will be allowed to use the infrastructure over there. Okay. And if you go to cafeteria, you are allowed to that in particular space and you are allowed to use that particular amenities. Okay, similarly, if you come to digital part, if you have access to an application, you will be able to like use that application. Okay, you will be like able to utilize the services that is provided by that application. Okay, so here in the term access, we mean our ability or whether we are allowed to use any of the applications. So here we mostly refer to applications only. So that's what we deal with. So access means any person's, I mean, I will change the terminology. Access means any identity's ability to access and use any application. Okay, any digital application. So that is what do we mean by access. And to use any application. Okay. And access means not only the ability to use the application, or it could be the permission to use any application. You can put it like this. Whether we are allowed to use any application. So that is what we mean by access. So when we say that term access, it is not only limited to our ability to use the application. At the same time, it also defines what level of permission we have, or let's say what level of permission identity have. Okay, so to put it again more clearly, when we say that access, it means the permission given to any identity to use any application. And it is not only limited to the permission that is given, it also refers to the level of permission that is given for anyone to use the application. For example, let's take your timesheets. We all fill timesheets, right, when we work for the organization. So if you are able to log into the timesheet, then you have permission to use that application. So access means not only your permission to use it. So once you log into timesheet, you will be able to fill the timesheet. Okay. And your manager will be able to fill his timesheet. At the same time, he will have permission to approve your timesheet. You don't have permission to approve your own timesheet, or you don't have permission to approve any other's timesheet until or unless someone reports to you. Okay. So this way, the level of restrictions that we are putting, the control we are putting over the ability to use is also access. Okay. So when we say access, what permissions we have within the application and what level of permission we have within the application. So this is what we can simply term access means. Okay. So what is the meaning of management then? What is the meaning of management? So identity and access management. It means if we are able to manage identity and their associated access, then that is the meaning of identity and access management. And more precisely, management in the sense like performing the different types of operations involved in it. Okay. For example, if you take access, it means we should be able to add access. We should be able to remove access. We should be able to disable access. We should be able to enable access. Okay. Or we can say we can create account, edit account, delete account. All these are the different actions that we can perform either on identity and the access associated with the identity. So performing these kind of operations on identity and access is nothing but management. Okay. So as a whole, identity and access management means for the people who work for the organization, we will understand what permissions they have in different applications and what level of permissions they have in different applications. And if you are able to add permissions, remove permissions, disable permissions, enable permissions, if you are able to perform these kind of operations on an identity and their associated access, then that is nothing but identity and access management. So this is what exactly we are going to do in our SailPoint IdentityIQ implementation. So not only our SailPoint IIQ implementation, you take any IAM tool, okay, any identity and access management tool. Like SailPoint is not only the product, like there are different types of product. You take any product. So this is what we will be doing. You will have people who work for the organization. While working, they have access to different applications. So you will be managing those access. If the person need access, you will add it. If the person don't need access, you will remove it. If the person is leaving the organization, you will disable it. So this is what precisely identity and access management. Even though it's a subdomain of our cybersecurity, the actual meaning and the reason behind its name is this. Okay. So hope I'm clear with this.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we are almost close to like 55 minutes. So the way I used to give training, right? At the beginning of the session or at the end of the session, I will allow like a few minutes of time for our discussion. So if you have any questions, you can ask at the end or at the beginning. And it is not only limited to end and beginning. So if you are not able to catch up with anything, if you have any doubts, you can like interrupt me anytime and you can ask your question. But this is how I should like at the end, like I will allow some time for Q&A. So with this identity and access management definition, so I will end the session here and I'm open for questions from your side. Okay, not only in the technical things, if you have any doubts on the training, anything you can ask me now.
Hi, Kalyan. So,
Yes, sir.
no, we are learning here SailPoint, right? So, what are the competitors of SailPoint, and how can we leverage or show the importance of SailPoint? If we are a BA, we need to show the importance of SailPoint, and using of it, right? So, when we have a competitors, how can we show that? Like, what is the difference between
Actually, so that is our next topics of discussion, Ravi. So in our next topics, right, basically we'll try to understand what are the different problems that IAM is facing. Like we'll try to understand what is the reason for existence of this tool. And after that, we also try to understand what are the different IAM tools available in the market. And once we know about the tool names, we'll try to understand what made this SailPoint IAQ stand out of these tools. So what is the reason for giving preference to SailPoint IAQ? So those topics we have listed in next sessions. So we'll be discussing those in detail.
Okay, sure.
Okay. So I just
And also
don't want to give some glimpse or something and leave it, but I just want to let you know those topics we will clearly discuss in our upcoming sessions.
Sure. And also, Kalyan, regarding the training perspective, if you have any roadmap kind of or a schedule kind of uh, document, if you could share, that would be great. Like what all topics we'll be covering under IAQ among these 30 days of training. Just the
Mm-mm-mm.
topic names or
Yes, yes.
yeah.
We have the course content prepared. So seniors will be sharing you the course contents with you. So in that, we have clear list of the topics that we'll be discussing as a part of this training.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So I'll ask Srinivas to share that course content with you, like after this call. You can go through that.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Kalyan.
Thank you. Any further questions?
Yeah, Kalyan. So as you said,
Yes.
like with the training what you provide, you said like we would get an experience like 4 to 5 years of
Mm-hmm.
experience of knowledge.
Yes.
So I just
Yes.
want to be clear, like so whatever job role we might be going in the future, like it could be administrator role or developer role. So my
Mm-hmm.
expectations from this course is like we need to be good at the basics, like we need to know
Yes.
the basics should be very strong, and we need to
Mm-hmm.
get the hands-on experience with the tool so that
Yes.
we would be not blank in whatever job role we might be going in future.
Exactly.
So
Yes.
that's
Yes.
are my expectations. So it could be like covering both theoretical and practical, so that would help us like in going
Actually,
confidently with the
Sriharsha,
job. Yeah.
yeah, to be honest, without lab, we cannot go with SailPoint IIQ.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so it is not like most of the focus is on real-time business scenarios, and we will be learning SailPoint using that business scenarios practically implemented with our lab. Okay,
Okay.
so while implementing the scenarios, we need to get familiar with few concepts and few technologies, right? So
Yes.
for that purpose, we will have the theoretical discussions comes into picture. But the
Hmm.
end goal is to get you more familiar with the practical implementation.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. And the goal is not only technically like teaching the tool. So we will be aware of why we are using the tool. So
Hmm.
the
Hmm.
reason behind is if you only know the tool,
Yeah.
okay, so you will only able to perform a particular operation. If they
Yes.
ask you to do something else, you will not be able to do that because
Hmm.
we are only limited to that particular path, particular
Yeah.
implementation.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you
Yeah.
know about the overall tool, what is
Hmm.
the purpose, how to use it, then you can play with it. You
Yes.
can
Yes.
handle the scenarios.
Yeah. Yeah.
Got it?
That's what we are looking for actually.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, like, it might be a silly example, but to let you know, so tool in the sense, like in general meaning anything, like let's take a knife. Knife is a tool.
Hmm.
So, what is the purpose of knife? We can use to chop. We can use it to like slice as well.
Yes.
Okay. So, if an object is there, if you slice it, it will cut down. Some objects like you have to hit it.
Hmm.
Okay. So that way, SailPoint IIQ, you will learn the tool.
Hmm.
So depending on the scenario, you will be using it.
Yes.
Okay, so that's the end goal. If you know what is the purpose of this, how to use it, then what
Hmm.
or maybe the scenario that comes to you, you will be able to handle it instead of like blindly going with like only one scenario kind of things. Okay.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. That's
And
true.
one more thing I wanted to tell you people. So when I was designing this training, right? So I I took a lot of things into my consideration. So when I was learning SailPoint, it took a lot of time because no one taught me SailPoint like the way I wanted. Okay, so their approach was different, but the way I learned the things is different. Okay, so that is one thing that I kept in mind. And also I have observed many people, like the people who works with me, right? I observe many people and I know how they learned it and what is missing in their learning. So I considered all these points and I designed this course so that once you are good with SailPoint, like going forward, my end goal is after this training, you should not be going to anyone else to learn SailPoint more. So you will be self-equipped to work and learn on your own. So that's the end goal. So with that approach only, I have designed the entire topics and the modules, everything. Okay. Fine. Any further questions?
Kalyan or Srinivas, can you please stay back after this call? If you don't mind, if you have time.
How much time it may take, Suman? Like,
Probably,
sorry?
probably less than 5 minutes.
If you don't mind, Suman, can we connect separately sometime tomorrow, please? It's already late for me.
Sure. Perfect.
We can have an telephonic call if okay, separately
We'll look
sometime
on.
tomorrow. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay, fine then. Okay, guys, thank you so much for joining. Okay, hope to see you soon. Bye.
Yeah, thank you, Kalyan.
Thank you.